Hi everyone, my name is Camille Nadal, and in this talk I will be presenting on behalf of my co-authors our Tokai paper entitled Patient Acceptance of Self-Monitoring on Smartwatch in a Routine Digital Therapy and Mixed Method Study. I will start by giving some information on the motivations behind this research. Self-monitoring is often encouraged by therapists to get people to keep track of their moods and specific events in their daily life, and this with the goal to reflect and identify patterns. Traditionally, people would keep a paper journal to record their mood and, for example, their sleep patterns. We then moved to a more mobile-based self-monitoring using smartphones, which enabled ecological momentary assessment. However, we still observe persisting issues, particularly the burden and stigma associated with self-monitoring. With this research, we ask, could a smartwatch be a good means to self-monitor in the context of digital therapy? Smartwatches are wearable devices, so their proximity enables immediate, discrete, and private interaction, and their sensing capabilities have the potential to reduce the burden of self-monitoring. But this new form of self-monitoring, to be successful in a clinical context, so delivering a therapy program, for example, requires for it to be well accepted by patients. We designed and developed a smartwatch for self-monitoring of mood, sleep, and physical activity. The smartwatch app is integrated within an existing digital therapy program provided through mobile and desktop. The smartwatch app prompts the user to record their mood several times a day by selecting one of the weather icons present on the screen. The user is then prompted to reflect on factors that might have affected their mood. The app automatically collects the user's sleep and physical activity data with the aim to reduce the burden of self-monitoring. And finally, the app offers a combined visualization of mood, sleep, and exercise data over the past week. While this app shows potential to support patients in keeping track and reflecting on their mood and lifestyle habits, if the intervention is not well accepted, this potential will not translate into improved clinical outcomes. User acceptance is defined as how individuals perceive a technology and how this perception leads them to use it or not. And an important aspect is that user acceptances of a specific technology will change over time throughout a person's interactions or lack of interaction with that technology. With this study, we aim to examine patient acceptance of using the smartwatch app during a routine digital therapy. When it comes to evaluating user acceptance of health technologies, there's a few validated theories and models which identify factors likely to facilitate or impede acceptance. However, there is no validated approach when it comes to mental health technologies, leaving us with these questions to address from a methodological point of view. We conducted an 8-week study with patients receiving digital therapy for depression. 69 patients of the UK's National Health Service were recruited and randomized to either the digital therapy program as usual or the digital therapy program with Smartwatch. This 2-aim setting was used to assess clinical feasibility of the intervention, but in this talk I will only discuss findings of the Smartwatch group. Our measurement timeline is based on the technology acceptance lifecycle introduced in the previous paper. It includes a measurement time point in each of the 3 stages of the user acceptance journey. At each time point, participants were asked to complete the acceptance questionnaire, a survey we developed based on a validated model for evaluating acceptance of healthcare technologies. These measures were complemented by an exploration of the impact of demographics and other factors on patient acceptance, including patient satisfaction, resistance to change, privacy protection, and others. And finally, we conducted post-study interviews. So this mixed method approach allowed us to obtain acceptance scores from the questionnaires and qualitative insights into patients' lived experience with the Smartwatch app. Patient acceptance scores remained high, so over 70% throughout the 8 weeks of the study. I invite you to read the full paper for a detailed analysis of the questionnaire subscales. The qualitative findings from this study were obtained from analysis of the interviews and exploratory questions through a reflexive thematic analysis. These tables present a summary of the facilitators and barriers to patient acceptance of self-monitoring on smartwatch. These are categorized into the 3 stages of the user acceptance journey, and I will now present a few of these themes, and I invite you to read the full analysis in our paper. Before getting access to the Smartwatch app, a strong motivation for its uptake was patients' concerns about their mental health status, with some commenting that they would try anything to get better. After having the smartwatch for a few weeks, one of the main facilitators for using it was that it helped patients check in with themselves, in that sense that the prompts received created opportunities for patients to pause for a second and identify their current mood. For some people, this pause enabled them to adopt a more compassionate approach towards themselves, but also towards others. Another strong facilitator of acceptance was that the app's behavior encouraged patients to adopt healthier habits. Specifically, patients commented that the prompt suggesting to reflect on the factors that might have affected their mood helped them identify patterns, for instance, between their daily mood and their sleep. Stigma associated with mental health difficulties was a source of worry for most participants. Another significant facilitator of acceptance was that the Smartwatch app felt safe for participants, as it did not make their difficulties visible to others. As an example, a few participants shared that they felt comfortable logging their mood in a social context. In terms of the barriers to patient acceptance, one that came up for participants before having the smartwatch was concerns that they wouldn't be able to use it. While for some people this was a deterrent for taking part in the study, others decided to join the study, commenting that they were willing to learn to use the smartwatch. After having the smartwatch for a few weeks, another barrier appeared in that wearing the smartwatch disrupted the routine of some participants. In particular, patients commented that wearing the smartwatch made switching off from technology difficult. Finally, a strong obstacle to acceptance of the Smartwatch app was their concerns with regards to sharing lifestyle data collected by the app with their digital therapy supporter. Participants particularly pointed out the difficulty to maintain a sleep and exercise routine when experiencing depression symptoms, and argued that self-report data shouldn't be used to make them answerable for something they have little control over. Drawing on this analysis, we propose a list of guidelines for designing self-monitoring interventions on smartwatch, which are more likely to be accepted and used. To outline a few, we argue for compassionate use of self-report data if this is shared with healthcare professionals, for designing technologies that are non-stigmatizing for users, but which can also empower them in speaking out if they wish to. And finally, an important aspect of successful self-monitoring interventions is finding the right balance between minimizing the demands placed on users and maintaining their self-awareness. Thank you for listening, and if you found this talk interesting, check out our paper for more insights on patient acceptance of self-monitoring on smartwatch and for the full list of design guidelines. Thank you.